Hello and welcome to the webinar Facet 65 for SchüCal. My name is Kai Lindberger and within the next 35 minutes I'd like to introduce the fabric facade Facet 65 in our SchüCal, and we have summarized the features and functions to the following subjects. We want to talk about how to get the discounts and how to enter the discounts. I'd like to talk about the calculation of the textile fabric, and I'd like to introduce the project-related settings, and also, of course, we want to work on items, and we are talking about the preliminary statical calculation. And to do so, we jump directly into the SchüCal. Come on. Like that. And please note that you need a certification from Schüco in order to fabricate the Facet 65. And please contact your area manager in case you are interested in this kind of construction. So before we start working on a project, we go to the General tab and to the Contacts. And if you go a little bit further down on the left-hand side, you see Schüco as an article supplier. And please make sure that you have entered the discounts. They are right on the bottom, which are called Facet aluminum profiles, Facet accessories, and Facet for the fabric. And don't miss to enter the discounts. I just enter 1%. in order not to get any messages during my work on the items, because SchüCal checks at any time the percentage if you have entered any discounts, and the minimum is 1%. So I apply this and confirm this with OK, and then we go directly back to the Project Explorer. I've already created a project. I called it Facet, and now double click on it. So what is new? So also for existing projects, please check if you want to add a Facet facade, please check the discounts. They are not automatically put over to the project-related calculation block. And here you also find the Facet aluminum profiles. And in case you reload this from the master data, click on the top left button in order to get the current discounts. So they are already there. And let's talk about the calculation possibilities of the Facet fabric. So you can get complete rolls, which allows you, if you use this setting, always complete rolls will be calculated and also ordered, right? By partial rolls, that means if you choose this, it will be checked in case of the fabrication length is less than 40 meters, whether the result of the fabric or partial rolls, and despite of the calculated surcharge, the more favorable price will be taken and the lower price into account. So the third option is the preparation. It is some sort of processing of assembly, and if you choose this entry, no rolls will be ordered. Instead, an additional list with the fabric composition will be printed, and the fabric is calculated according to a certain formula for all the materials you need. So what I like to do now is I want to create a new item. The description is webinar. And if you double click on it, you know this from SchüCal, you got into the selection of the templates and you find the textile facades here. If you go to the facades, you go to the textile facades. And you've got the option to use a modular facade horizontal or vertical, or polygonal facade horizontal or vertical. And so the horizontal or vertical patterns, they are different in fabrication. And the horizontal weft threads are guided by the vertical warp threads, and that has an effect of the properties of the fabric. So you have to make sure that you've got the correct one, horizontal or vertical, also for the properties of the textile fabric. Let's choose the modular facade horizontal. If you select this, there's just one system left, that is Facet 65. If we double click on it, you get, as you know this from SchüCal, an item which is more or less fully equipped. So what you can do now is, on the left hand side, you can define the module width, and let's assume the width is 6,500 and the height 4,500. And the first segment dimension is 2,100, the next one 800, and the remaining field is 600 millimeter. Right then, and this construction is fixed to a subconstruction, which can you select here if you use steel, timber, or concrete, and it directly influences the number of screws. I like to show you a little bit later. First start with the concrete here. And the substructure also directly influences the profiles you can choose from here a little bit further down. Let's take a closer look to the joint profiles here. If we go to this, these are now my possibilities to select. I let it to the number 503-300. And you get also the cover profiles, you get the closer profiles at the boundaries of your construction, and the cover profiles for the closer profiles. Well, and here you've got the different types of fabric. If we go to this, I'll make it a little bit bigger, this field, we distinguish between PVC coated, polyester fabric, and if we go further down, there are also PTFE coated fiberglass fabric to choose from. And it also directly is a matter of the property of your item, and also possible for the preliminary statical calculation. What I like to use is, I want to use an ash blonde color, so for a better view for you on the screen. And as you can see here, the profiles are here green and not that much visible. So let's choose a different color, and let's make it, for example, standard yellow. Click on OK, so they can be better seen if we are working on the item. So what I like to do next is, I want to make a multiple selection, a right click, and I want to split the areas here, 3 number of width fields, 1 height field, and I want to input some dimensions, 1000 for the segment dimension 1 and 1000 also for the last one. So the remaining dimension 2 is about 4500. I click on OK. And I also want to add next an opening here in field number 2. And for that, I also split the area here, and number of width fields 3, height fields again 1, and the opening should be 2100 here. Okay, I click on OK. So, and what you get is the following. You've got here the division of the items, and if you make a double click on it, you get here the profiles. That is here your fabric, and these are the profiles we have added until now. Good. I click on OK now, or to close. In order to show you the following, I go now here to the view from the inside, and if you want to add an opening here, which of course cannot be fixed to these small fabric or facet profiles, it must be fixed to the wall. But what you need is you need some sort of opening so to go through. So I delete now the area here, and what you get automatically from SchüCal is that the boundary profiles are automatically given in order to go through your construction. So you don't have to care about any joints. They are automatically given here by SchüCal. Well, another thing is here we've got some technical settings. You see that here now the profiles, watch them, they are joined together, but you can also use some piece articles. So the corner module, you click on there, you see these articles. These are some sort of connector profiles, these piece articles, for the corner module, and also for the connecting unit here, you can also use corner profiles, right? And these are a little bit longer profiles there, as you can see, and I want to use the corner module and without corner module and working without the connecting unit. So what is next? What I like to achieve is that I want to add fields for a window opening in field number 6. And for that, I go back to the view from the outside. And that works like this. You've got some drawing functions here on top. And if you click on parallel, and we'll zoom a little bit more into the detail, you take the center line, and I want to add 150 millimeter to the right. And I use this function again, exactly the center. The distance should be 1200 to get the next line here, as you can see it here. Right, and we do this also for the opposite side. Parallel line, we use the center line, minus in this case to the minus nx 150, and again the parallel line here, go to this minus 1200 like that. And what I also want to use is 150 here for the horizontal profile. Minus 150. And the last one, parallel line. I go here to the center and also 150 millimeters. So what we have achieved is that this kind of construction of the helplines here, and then it's quite simple to use the rectangle function, snap the first point, snap the last point, and all of a sudden you get the profiles here, which are shimmering through the fabric now. Go here, go there, click on there, And what you can do is also you can get rid of the help lines, delete them all here on the top, and then we go back to the view from the inside, and you've got all the profiles shown here for your window opening. And of course, if there's a window attached to the construction, of course you have to cut the field 6.2 and 6.3 out in order to get the opening, if you like. Good. If you have some, we need some sort of other profiles here. If we take a closer look, what we need is, we need an add clip on cover profile here, right? To get this area to be closed. This groove here must be closed with a certain profiles. And of course you can select one by one, or you can select the selection tree. And let's take a closer look here. If you go to the joint profiles like that, and you make a multiple selection by holding the shift button, then you can use a right click. Oh no, sorry, I was wrong with my right click. You can just use the left hand side, add clip on cover profile, click on that, add this profile, confirm this is okay, and then as you can see, the job is done. Right, you get for all selected profiles the cover profiles here, or clip on cover profiles, which are called here in this case. Good. So you've got a message here on the top that the basic profiles must be positioned every 2,990 millimeter as a standard with an expansion gap of 3 millimeter according to your construction, and up to 4 meter you need an expansion gap of 4 millimeters. So how you can do this is you can select the profile like that, you make a right click on it, and then you add a profile division. That's it. And here you can choose from, let's say, 2,900 millimeter. You need an expansion joint of 3 millimeter. For the joint profile, you can do the same for the cover. For the cover profile, 900, and also an expansion joint of 3 millimeter. And if you like, the clip-on profiles, in case they also need a gap 2,900 and also 3 millimeter. So it's up to you where to set this. You click on OK, and then automatically you get here, this is our profile division symbol, so you can be sure that the profiles are cutted in this area, and you get a proper expansion joint. So I'm talking about the preliminary statical calculation. If we go to the view to the inside again, you can see here, if we hover the mouse over the left profile, you see the number of screws are 30 here, and the distance 304.3 millimeter. So, and if we go here to the inner profile, if you click on that, hover the mouse over there, we just get 4 screws. So let's take a closer view to the number of screws here on the boundary. As you can see, the outer profiles, they need more screws than the inner profiles. And that changes automatically by changing the substructure. If we go, for example, from concrete to steel, you will see that here number of screws are 40 and the distance is shorter. So you need more screws, which are automatically calculated, the number of screws, but you need to add here in the general and in the article management, you need to add a price for these profiles. Well, going back to the item here, and I go to the view from the outside. So now let's talk a little bit of the outputs. There are special outputs for the fabric and also for the facet. You find this here using the other lists, and you've got a fabric assembly here. If you click on that, fabric assembly, use some options here to show the price and also the drawing. Then if you click on OK, you get the fabric assembly here. Like that. Make it a little bit bigger. You've got here the parameters of the project in your item, then which position is, the length and width and surface, and also calculated surface, the weight and the unit price, and also the dimension here of the fabric. So it shows each field. And whereas if you go to the output and if you go to the other lists, again, we've also got a fabric plan, and here you can make a decision how many number of fabrics per page you want to use. And if you click on OK, you will see they are collected together. Also a fabric plan, which is very, very useful because you've got the field numbers here, the article numbers, where to put in the field, and with a sketch of the item, you know exactly which fabric is matched to which field in your facade. Well, of course, what you get is an output of the cutting optimization. All the profiles are optimized here, as you know from the SchüCal. It's like you use this for windows and doors. Also here, you've got all the profiles which can be cut it together here, including the remaining and the scrap you get here for all these profiles, and that is the cutting optimization. So the calculation, of course, includes all the materials you need for this. Like that, as you probably know from SchüCal. Here, all the aluminium profiles, including the surface finishes and material overheads in case you have created the operation costs, like that. Good. Finally, let's take a closer look to the order. If you go to the output and we select the order here, you get different type of prints for the order. One is here for the screws. One is here for the profiles and also the accessories. And here is also different kinds of accessories on the next page. And finally, we've got the fabric here, and you can also see you've got an offcut of 42.2%. Well, let's go to the last one. If we go to the output, and if we make to an output of the preliminary statical calculation, let's try this. Here the preliminary statical calculation is shown. You've got the horizontal dynamic load, the width of the building, the wind zone, and also the fabric is shown that it is suitable here. Right? Fabric is suitable. Also the wind loads. You see that? So that is the thing of the preliminary statical calculation. Well, I close this now, and what else is? That was a preliminary statical calculation, and we are done for today. So thank you for attending the webinar SchüCal. In case of further questions, please contact our service desk by using the email servicedesk@schüco.com. We will be happy to answer the questions as soon as possible. Thank you and have a nice day.